Oh, well.
Okay. We are back here, Jiggy Jag TV, Jigman Freud at the Kansas Star Casino, and I have one of the best with me, play-by-play guys in the business. You go ahead and give us your own introduction.
Ooh, I'm not used to that. Well, I guess I do that for a living. Hey, everyone, I'm Corey Erdman, boxing commentator, writer, and filmmaker here in Wichita, Kansas, all the way from Toronto, Ontario. About a 4.5-hour flight. I got a good flight. It didn't take that long.
That's good. Well, and you're dressed?
I am.
Look at this.
I am. I'm ready. We got a big fight tonight. Of course, Nico Hernandez and Sylvester Canelage tonight. Live on Super Channel in Canada and on pay-per-view in the United States. So, yeah, I do have to put a suit on once.
Fantastic. Well, tell me about the press conference yesterday, or in the weigh-in. It was a little bit touchy when Nico and Sylvester went to the scale.
Yeah, you know what? Nico was a little bit testy. He felt that when Canelage leaned in, that he was disrespecting him. At least that's what he said. But all in all, I mean, that just helps drive publicity to this fight.
Yes.
You know? I mean, it gives the beat writers out there something to lead with. Your headline suddenly is, hey, there's a scuffle at the press conference. And, you know, people in boxing, they don't just fight, they're smart people too. They know what drives headlines, and obviously that did the trick.
So, what do you think about this arena?
I mean, this is a fantastic...
In the middle of Kansas.
In the middle of Kansas. You know what? When I came here, usually when you do a fight at a casino, the event center is usually something close to a ballroom. You know, it's kind of a lengthy room. It doesn't really shoot well on TV. You got to paper a whole bunch of stuff and do some television magic. I walked in here. I mean, there's a full-fledged basketball arena in here. I had no concept of this being here, but this is a fantastic spot, and clearly they've had to move it here because Nico sells so many tickets that they need a big enough space to do it. So I mean, we're excited to be here.
So Nico fighting on pay-per-view in like his 4th or 5th fight.
Yeah.
That's very rare in boxing. Talk to me a little bit about that.
I mean, a lot of things about Nico are rare. I mean, the fact that he's 4-0 and facing a guy with over 30 professional fights here tonight, that's a big deal. Nico really, and this is not hyperbolic whatsoever, Nico legitimately is one of the more popular boxers in America. If you look at the number of tickets that he sells, on average he sold 4,000 tickets in his first pro fights. You can pick out a whole lot of professional fighters right now, world champions, people that fight on pay-per-view that haven't done that consistently. You have to put them in a big room in Vegas and market it as a big event to get 4,000 or more people in there. It's a big deal to be selling this many tickets. We only have a handful of guys that have this kind of local following, and just that alone, and we're putting aside Nico's talent in the ring, that alone makes Nico very special.
Now, talk to me about this ring. Is this... I've been to several of Nico's fights and everything. This thing looks like a phone booth.
Yeah, this is going to be a small ring, and when you're in there with a guy like Nico Hernandez who's going to come after you, Canelage is going to have his hands full. I mean, he's going to have a lot of difficulty getting away from him. It's really not a friendly room, or ring, excuse me, for Canelage. He's a guy that likes to move. He likes to use that perimeter, so bad news probably for Canelage here tonight.
Now, talk to me about boxers going into MMA and MMA going into boxing.
Yeah,
there's because like one of Nico's last fights was a guy who had done MMA and got into boxing.
That's right. Yeah,
went back and forth.
It's I mean, you can call it the Conor McGregor effect because, and that's not to say that this wasn't happening before. I mean, for many years there have been guys who, because they're MMA fighters and they train boxing enough, they've gone into boxing, the paydays are good, oftentimes better than they are in MMA, and there was that
very much so.
But I think that Mayweather-McGregor really opened it up for a lot of fighters and opened up their minds, and frankly, a lot of MMA fighters that I've encountered that have crossed over into boxing, they're martial artists, and they really look at it as a learning experience. So if they're getting a good payday, again, likely better than they would get in a cage.
Oh, very much so.
They're learning a little bit more about boxing. They're testing their skills. They're finding out where they need to be in order to be elite strikers. It really is a win-win because they don't necessarily care if they take a loss in here. As they put up a good fight, make a couple bucks, they've learned something. It was a worthwhile experience for them. And we're seeing that more and more. And also, MMA guys are tough men, and they will take fights that a lot of boxers...
gloves suck.
They're terrible, but there are a lot of MMA guys that will take fights last minute and tough fights that a lot of boxers who are doing it full-time won't, because they really care about their boxing career. So they're a matchmaker's dream in a lot of cases.
Now, before we go, talk to me about your filmmaking. You're outside boxing.
Yeah. So I'm also a writer for Vice. You can check out a lot of my work on Vice. Formerly at Fightland as well, but now it's kind of all amalgamated under the Vice platform. I'm working on a chapter for a book about professional wrestling and politics. That's going on right now.
Yes, you are a huge pro wrestling
I'm working on pro wrestling, and I can't, unfortunately, filmmaking-wise, I can't divulge it on camera right now.
Well, yeah.
All I can tell you is that I am working on a film about pro wrestling, and it might be happening in Japan. But
That's
I can't say
awesome.
anymore.
Fantastic. Well, I have to talk pro wrestling with you before we go here. What do you make of this Bullet Club all-in? Dustin or Cody, excuse me, and all these guys, they made this huge event without any help from Vinny and the rest of them.
It's an unprecedented event. I mean, they're going to say this a lot.
And they sold out in
the
30 minutes.
Sold out in 30 minutes. Keep in mind, no organization other than WWE has sold that many tickets in the United States or Canada
In that amount of time.
for the last 20 years other than WWE. Forget amount of time at all. You'd have to go back to when WCW was around to find an organization or any show at all that had that many people. So this is a really big deal, and it's a really exciting time to be a wrestling fan, but more than that, it's an exciting time to be a pro wrestler, because you can make a living outside of the confines of WWE. You can make a lot of money.
It's fantastic.
I'm not looking at their bank account, but I can guarantee you that Cody, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, those guys are making more than most of the guys on the WWE roster, and they're doing it only on weekends and on their own time and having their travel paid for. That sounds pretty good to me.
What do you think of the guys like Dolph Ziggler and some of these guys are starting to get a push?
Yeah.
But I think if, our former co-host on Jiggy TV used to always say, if I was Dolph Ziggler, I'd walk into McMahon's office and ask for my release tomorrow. And what do you think about these guys that look like they could go to the Indies and make?
I mean, it's difficult. I mean, think about it in terms of what we do. Let's say, if you're a broadcaster, if you're a journalist, there's a whole lot of comfort in having a salary, in knowing you got a guaranteed contract. I mean, the contracts aren't guaranteed, but they know the set dollar amount that they're going to make. They can say to their families and their kids, "Hey, I'm bringing home $120,000 or whatever it is on the low end."
Whatever it is.
Low end and NXT is about $60K, and low end roster guys are somewhere between 80 and 120. But you know that number, and then you get a little bit of a kickback on your merch, but there's a lot of comfort in that, and I think a lot of people in a lot of creative industries go through that same quandary, where they're like, okay, maybe I can make more money out there freelancing, but maybe I couldn't. Maybe there'll be a month where I'm not.
Get booked.
And exactly, and for Dolph, that's probably not an issue, but there's a lot of prestige and there's a lot of comfort in having that contract. And again, saying that you're a WWE superstar still means more than, hey, I'm an indie wrestler.
I work at ROH.
Exactly.
Before I let you go, one of the things that we kind of bonded on Twitter about is our love for the Bullet Club.
That's right. Yeah.
What do you think of the fact that there is like 35 dudes in Bullet Club now? Some of them make, like Jeff Jarrett, make a one-time appearance and they're gone.
Yeah, it's becoming like NWO Black and White.
Yes,
right?
yes.
But, I mean, the difference
It's like when Big Show said on, I think it was a Monday Night Wars DVD, he's like, turn on Nitro one night, 35 limousines pull out, 50 dudes jump out. Everybody's in the NWO.
The difference is we don't have Vince Russo booking this,
yes.
and it's not WCW. And again, you don't see it every single Monday.
Yeah.
I mean, there still is a thirst for the Bullet Club. I'm at indie shows, I'm at New Japan and ROH shows all the time. Every single person is still in either a Bullet Club shirt or a member of the Bullet Club shirt.
Yes.
It's clearly not getting stale yet, so why not just keep it going?
That's fantastic. Well, before I let you go, two more boxing questions. What do you think of this heavyweight division? We're trying to get people together to do a unification. Is that ever going to happen?
Oh, it's definitely going to happen. I mean, when you have that much money on the line, it's definitely going to happen. And I always tell people always complain about not getting the big fights and whatnot. You might not get the big fights at the exact moment that you want it, but think about boxing history, and it's hard to come up with a colossal fight that just didn't happen, because money talks, and these fighters want to make as much money as possible, and so do the promoters, and so do their respective managers. Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua will get in the ring with one another. It's probably not going to happen in 2018, but it will happen in 2019.
Well, before we let you go, how do we get a hold of you on social media, everything?
Yeah, that's all right. You can check me out on Twitter at Corey_Erdman. That's my Twitter, and Instagram at Erdmania. And of course, like I said, follow me on everything that I'm doing. Vice.com. You can catch me on all these broadcasts. I try to keep people updated on my social media, but yeah, I'm everywhere.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, sir.
No, come on. Exactly.
Thanks for watching Jiggy Jag TV.